Hello and welcome back to Paddock and Track, the show where we bring you news on and off the track. My name is Amaan and I'm joined as always by my lovely co-host Max.
Hey guys.
And today we bring you the Bahrain Grand Prix, and it's not the first race anymore, so
No, yeah, it's kind of weird still getting used to that.
Yeah.
Back to starting with Australia. But yeah, so I would say it was a fairly interesting race.
Yeah.
Better than last week, I think, because last week wasn't really that interesting.
more going on.
But starting here with the starting grid, we see Oscar Piastri on pole.
Yes.
So a repeat pole, his second pole of the season. A very hot start for Oscar Piastri this year. He's been doing well in previous seasons. You know, he got his first win last year in Hungary, but still a very, very good start for him. And something that's not necessarily, I wouldn't say out of form, but like impressive for him.
I mean, it's great to see because McLaren has been surging recently, and they want to have capable drivers to bring the car to the top. So it's great to see Oscar embracing the role.
Yeah.
Third year in, so that's great for him.
And then second place we see Charles Leclerc, but really out of luck because of Mercedes
Russell.
not being smart. So essentially what happened is that George Russell and Kimi Antonelli actually were released into the pit lane before so there was a red flag in qualifying, and the pit lane was not yet reopened, and then the drivers weren't allowed to go back out on track, and then Mercedes just put them out in the pit lane anyways. So it was really just Mercedes' fault here that they each got a 1-place grid penalty.
Yeah.
So knocking Russell down to third and Antonelli down to fifth. But still, they both qualified very well, especially Kimi Antonelli for, his fourth race of the season, qualifying fourth place.
Yeah, but down in P5 now for the race.
Yeah, but even still, fourth place for him. Charles Leclerc also, again, up in second place. So that's good for him because Ferrari has been very up and down.
Still down in Hamilton's part, down in all the way in P9. So
Yeah. And more importantly, though, we see Pierre Gasly up in fourth place, promoted to fourth place after
dragging
Kimi
that tractor
Antonelli.
of an Alpine up to fourth
Yeah,
place. So
I always feel like Gasly seems to have like random, very good results, and this is definitely one of those.
Jack Doohan didn't do bad himself. He also got P11, so
This is true.
So really good outing for Alpine.
Yeah.
Coming into the race. So
Especially considering how Bahrain has gone for them in previous seasons. This is a very good start for them.
yeah, we see Lando Norris, uncharacteristic, our championship leader, down in sixth place.
Yes.
So not great for him.
Yeah, not ideal.
But let's see. I mean, this proves his championship. Let's see how good he is to see if he can climb up through the pack a little bit, starting down in P6.
And then we see Max Verstappen behind him in seventh place, a bit further off in terms of pace as well. He's about not quite 2/10, but almost 2/10 slower in qualifying than Lando Norris, which is sort of uncharacteristic for Max Verstappen, but it's kind of more characteristic for that Red Bull car that he's
it's
in.
not great.
Unfortunately for him. And then Carlos Sainz in eighth place, so a decent result for him, especially he's been kind of outshadowed by Alex Albon recently.
Yeah.
And Albon down in 15th, so not the worst result, but not great. It's just barely at the bottom of Q2 there. But Sainz making it up into Q3 and qualifying ahead of Lewis Hamilton. But Yuki Tsunoda
P10. So
P10.
So that Red Bull car. So we see Max Verstappen in seventh, but this is the closest I think the second teammate has been to Max Verstappen. So
I feel like, yeah. Well,
so
he's
P7, P10 might not be the best. But
He's in the top 10.
he made it to Q3. So
and then to be fair, he was about almost 6/10 slower than Hamilton. In Q3, but it's Q3.
He's only 6/10 faster than Jack Doohan too. So I was like,
This is true. Yeah. So actually it's not. Yeah, but either way. A while.
Oh, yeah, it's cute. Yeah. No.
But it's still Yuki Tsunoda finally getting up there into Q3, so that's good for him and good for his staying at Red Bull.
Yeah.
And then again, like you said, Jack Doohan in 11th place, so a decent start for him with who Jack Doohan, of course, not having a lot of great starts.
Yeah, usually at the bottom of the grid. So
yeah.
now he's in the midfield, so let's see what he can do for that race.
Good for him.
Isaac Hadjar up into or down into 12th place. I feel like he's had better qualifying. So down in P12, it's okay, but like it's not great either.
It's not great, no. But he did out-qualify his more experienced teammate, Liam Lawson, who is all the way down in 17th place.
Not great.
And then we see Alonso, 13th place. Behind him, Esteban Ocon, 14th, and then Alex Albon in 15th. Not a great qualifying for Alex Albon, who has had some pretty good qualifying in the past. Obviously, the Williams is not really a fast car.
Yeah.
But still, we've seen him have better results in the past. So this is a little not great in terms of performance, especially when Carlos Sainz is in 8th place.
Yeah.
At least in qualifying, right?
And then we see the struggling Aston Martin still. So Alonso in 13th, Stroll in 19th. So not great for the Aston Martins. And then we also see the struggling Haas as well. Ocon in 14th, Behrman in 20th. So Behrman, I think that was really bad, really not great for him.
Yeah.
So it sucks that he's down in P20.
Yeah. But and also we see the two stakes in 16th and 18th. So that's about right for them.
Yeah, it's stake. So.
Yeah. So getting into the race here now, honestly, it was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
To watch.
I think off the break it was pretty good.
Yeah, this is true.
But there's a bunch of things going on at the start. We had right off the jump, we had George Russell locking up. So then we also see Norris coming up, and we see Norris jumping up a few places. So
I mean, and at the start, it seemed like for a moment that Russell was gonna pass Piastri. Going into turn one. Turn one is like it's a hard braking zone at Bahrain. It's almost a hair. It basically is a hairpin. And so Russell almost got all the way up there to Piastri, but he locked up. Right again because it's a hard lock. It's a hard braking zone. So he locked up like big time. Going into that turn one, and so he did not get past Piastri, but it was close for a minute there.
Yeah, it was.
And the soft seemed to be best. Like there was most of the drivers were on the softs. There was a couple on the mediums, but the soft seemed to be the best tire. And the people that were on the soft seemed to be doing. They were capitalizing on that. They had to pit early. Like a lot of them were pitting by like lap 11 and earlier, but the soft tires seemed to help them out at the start.
Also at the start, this was given later in the race, but Lando Norris received a 5-second time penalty for I think he was out of bounds, or
he was like out of position.
Out of the position. Yeah. So basically, he put his car into neutral and it slid forward. Yeah. And so he was just out of the box before the race began. He couldn't reverse. So so that was a time penalty served right there.
That's a shame for him because it's something this should be fairly easy to catch. It seemed like maybe what they had talked about was maybe where because they're very specific about where the bite point is in the clutch. So that's where the clutch actually engages. And so if that was a little bit off for him, that could impact him either way. So that's probably played a big role in that. But even still, it's kind of a silly mistake because it's not that difficult to keep the car in one spot.
Yeah, I mean, also, especially since you're already starting an uphill hill battle, being down in P6 and being a championship leader, trying to get as many points as possible. You also shouldn't be making these mistakes too if you really want to win a world championship because you're trying to be the best driver. So these are like silly mistakes that you should be making. So and then we saw Piastri already up 0.8 by the end of lap 1 on George Russell. So again, yes, Russell seemed quick right off the bat, but then he kind of fell back, and then we really saw the pace that Piastri had this race. Yeah. And then Piastri kind of just dominated the entire week. Yeah. He was quick the whole time. Yeah. It was just like, he was up 0.8 already by the end of lap 1, and then basically gone the rest of the race. Like we barely ever saw him on the broadcast. He was just doing his own thing, but he was doing good. And he was being consistent. That's what matters. Yeah, and that was just a relatively clean race from Piastri. And then we see Oliver Behrman go up to 15th from P20 in lap 2. So that's really great for him, especially driving that Haas car, which hasn't genuinely been fast. So really good for him. And starting all the way down in 20th. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you're starting down in last, so it's like really hard to like move up places, and you did really well by lap 2, so it's impressive you moved up 5 places.
Yeah, definitely. And then we saw, as per usual, honestly, a lot of Hamilton complaining in this race.
Yeah.
But he was complaining about the mediums. Again, like we said, the soft tires seemed to be really fast.
So yeah, starting on the medium was an okay strategy, but obviously we see this the softs are pretty they're the best tire, but also they also fall off faster. So
well, yeah, and I mean it's kind of what you expect with the softs, but yeah, and the softs just like by the time that people were pitting to go onto the mediums, I think they had gained so much time that it was worth the start on the softs and then the quick degradation because you just gained so much time on the mediums.
Yeah.
And honestly, the mediums didn't seem that bad. Like they weren't great. But sure,
no one like ran the hard tire. Though no one really ran the hard, except for Charles Leclerc
and Max Verstappen.
Okay.
Max Verstappen went onto the mediums at the hards on lap 11, and he kept them on for a while.
Yeah.
But he was the first one to go onto those hards, and he seemed to be doing like. I mean, okay, he wasn't doing great, but the car was also part of the problem. But it was fine, and so
I mean, what was the strategy there? Try to like last as long as longer than the other cars, so that you can gain position.
Yeah, well, and I mean, Leclerc did. Well, he was at least. I know for sure he
pitted after the safety car. So well, we can talk about that after. But did he even do anything with those hards? Well,
that's the thing. So I think that going onto those hards was important, and Leclerc wanted to do a one stop, and he it didn't work partly because again, like you said, with the safety car, which we'll get to, but I don't know that the hards would have lasted that whole time because it's a good strategy to try and go on the hards and just outlast everyone.
Yeah.
But at Bahrain, I don't think it works. It's just too hot there, so and the degradation's too hot.
Yeah. So going on the hards, it's not worth it because. Yeah, as you said, the degradation's too high.
Yeah, and another thing we'll get to later, but we even saw basically a fight between the mediums and the hards with Leclerc and Norris, and the mediums were just far better. So we'll get there, but just to preface that or foreshadow that, I suppose. And then we saw again Hamilton making up. It seemed like he was making up a lot of places, but then you realize who he was passing, and it was like mostly the back markers. And you look at where he finished, which I don't want to spoil, but it's fine. Like when you see, I mean, he didn't finish that high. I mean. Let's see. He finished in 5th place, so reasonable, especially considering he started in 9th. But most of the time, they would like show him on TV, and I'm like, why are we watching this? He's passing like a Sauber. Like, this is not the biggest pass of his life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's not been great for Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari. He has been struggling in that car, and it's not been great. It hasn't looked great.
Well,
I mean, I feel like Ferrari in general has just been struggling.
This is true. Ferrari is always the place where careers go to die.
Yeah, and it seems that it's dying. Ferrari is currently dying. It's wasting away Charles and wasting away Ferrari.
I mean, we kind of expected that this was the way things were going to go for Lewis Hamilton, knowing Ferrari and knowing where Hamilton is at in his career. And it's going to be – I'm curious to see when is Hamilton done. You know what I mean? When does he retire or when does he say, I can't be on Ferrari anymore, I want to go somewhere else?
It might be soon.
And will Mercedes welcome him back with open arms?
Probably
I don't know. Probably not.
They have Kimi Antonelli now, so it's like
their dream boy. Don't know. And who knows what's going on with George Russell, but I don't think he's going back to Mercedes. So then who knows? Who knows what Lewis Hamilton's future holds? But I don't know how long. If it were me, which it would not because I didn't start karting at like 4. But if it were me, I would not want to stay on that team. I would not want to stay on Ferrari right now. If I had other options, I think I would want to move.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen so many other careers go there, like Vettel went to Ferrari.
Even Kimi Räikkönen.
Kimi Räikkönen went to Ferrari. Like everyone goes to Ferrari just to end their careers. I mean, I think the end is near for Lewis Hamilton. I mean, he has had a astounding career.
This is
one
true.
of the greatest of all time. So yeah. 7-time world champion. Might be time to call it quits soon.
This is true. But to get back to the race here, Leclerc did get past Norris on lap 25. Again, that fight between the hards versus the mediums. in this case, at earlier stages, the hards seemed quick, especially for Leclerc. And this is, I think, part of why he wanted to try the one stop when basically no one else was gonna try the one stop.
Yeah.
But it then, as we saw later, it didn't really work.
Yeah.
But,
So I mean,
yeah,
it's the degradation. I mean, like the hards probably seem like it's like a good idea at the time, but eventually, as time goes on, it's gonna fall away and it's not gonna be worth it because I might as well just use the faster tires.
This is true.
Degrade as much as the other ones do.
Yeah. And then we got a safety car, so very exciting. Finally, Bernd Mailander gets to come back out. And it was for a collision between Yuki Tsunoda and Carlos Sainz.
Yes, the beginning of demolition signs.
Yeah, like Carlos Sainz was just like, it was like he was playing bumper cars out there. Like he was hitting everybody. I mean, at a certain point, like, you know, you got to stop hitting people.
I mean, eventually he did because
he retired.
But like, you know.
But it was a lot. Like he just kept hitting people. I don't know. We'll talk about this. But so there's a safety car. Perfect for the people at the front, like Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris. It was perfect. Oscar Piastri was like right by the pit exit or the pit entry. Sorry. Came into the pits, got fresh tires, went back out.
That was it.
Boom. And then same for like a lot of the other people at the top. Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris, they all got to pit like a free pit stop because under the safety car. Then they all bunch up. This was perfect for them.
Yeah. We see a bunch of tire changes. I think Leclerc. Wait, this is when Leclerc went on the hards, right?
Yeah, I believe a second pair of hards.
So yeah, he went on a second pair of hards to try, try to do something different than everyone else. I mean, I think at the time now, he was the only one on the hard compound. Everyone else either switched to the mediums or the softs. And yeah, so it brought everyone else together, so it brought for a more interesting race.
Oh, definitely. And what it was interesting for was less so for Oscar Piastri because he just flew away again, but Leclerc and Norris is where it really got tight, and we will cover that because that was right at the end of the race, so we will get there. We try to go chronologically. Sometimes it doesn't work, but
well, Sainz.
Yeah, to come back to Sainz here.
Sainz continues to hit drivers, and
he had damage. I think it was from the collision with Tsunoda, but he just seemed like he kept getting into fights with people, like Lewis Hamilton and
with Hamilton for sure.
Hamilton's the one that sticks out to me because he just kept fighting him. Even Max Verstappen, but they were not clashing as much. But like he just kept hitting people. I was like, dude. I mean, I know you don't really want to be on Williams, but like we can save them a little bit of money.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, eventually, his side part was just ripped open.
Yeah,
so he could not continue to race with that.
Yeah. So unfortunately for Carlos Sainz, his fun did have to end, and he did have to retire.
But he did cause havoc though.
This is true.
He did shake up the midfield. So.
Yeah. And another exciting Hamilton complaint. He just said the car won't turn.
Yes.
This just cannot be true.
That's just the main part of the car that needs to happen.
Right?
So
I don't know.
Car doesn't turn.
Yeah.
I know it's probably exaggeration, but it's like, the car won't turn. Like, come on.
I don't know. And then a weird thing, as just like kind of an overall, before we get kind of here to right at the end of the race, throughout this whole race, there's lights in the pit box that tell the driver when to go. There's like a red light when they're in the pit box, and then it turns green, so they know we can go. Like, cause they'll keep it. The teams it'll stay red if like there's the people. What it's supposed to do, I think, is it turns green when it's
supposed to regulate the traffic in the pit lane. So it's.
I think it's more when the guns for the wheel nuts, once they're like done tightening stuff, then it's supposed to turn green. They just weren't turning green.
Yeah, so
for some reason
it was mainly in the Red Bull box. So
but I think a lot of people were having problems.
Yeah, but what stood out to me was both Max Verstappen and Yuki Tsunoda. So Max Verstappen tried to go, but it was still red. So it was weird. And then Yuki Tsunoda came in like a couple either lap or two later, and same thing happened to him. Yeah. So it was so weird to me that the pit lights won't work. It's something small like that. Yeah,
it was really weird. It was such a weird situation. Like the FIA had to have been having all kinds of problems because the timing system was falling apart.
The board wasn't even working.
It was a very, very strange race.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of a problem more for the drivers when those lights aren't working because then they don't know when to go.
And also just loses time eventually too because you're not going.
Yeah.
The more you're in the
So-
pit box, the more you can't go.
Very strange situation there.
Yeah.
And then the end of the race. So we almost saw last lap Lando. I mean, we were looking at him, and then he didn't come out.
I mean, yeah, he was fighting Russell. Well, he passed Leclerc.
Yes, so he did get past Leclerc.
He did. He got eventually.
So again, those mediums seem to be better than the hards, even though they had theoretically about the same amount of laps on those tires, but after the safety car,
the mediums are faster.
the mediums were faster.
Yeah.
So then it was George Russell and Lando Norris. But there was a couple weird things that happened here. So there was a bit of a discussion throughout this, kind of around this point, that George Russell had a DRS infringement.
Yeah.
But it was so weird what happened. Okay, so essentially,
there's zones. There's DRS zones.
yes, right, and you can only use your DRS when you're within 1 second of the driver in front of you.
Yeah.
However, George Russell was having like a ton of electrical problems during this race. At one point, they were like, "You might lose the dash," and yeah, so he was having a lot of electrical problems, right? And so one of the problems. Part of the problems was that his like a lot of the buttons on his steering wheel weren't working, and so the FIA lets like the teams use this like manual override mode. So then they told Russell to use this like backup radio button, but that button is also the manual override for the DRS system. So he hit the button trying to call his engineer, and then opened the DRS.
So that was the infringement. So it was like
yes.
an accident. Okay.
So then he closed it, right? Because once you take your foot off the throttle, it closes because it closes in the braking zones. So he closed it, and then the FIA said that like they wouldn't give him a penalty because like it was issues and whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
So either way though, Norris and Russell were fighting right at the end of the race. Yeah. It was very exciting to watch. Russell looked like he might get past. Norris was very, very close a couple times.
Yeah, but I feel like it never happened though. It did
not.
Russell was driving really well.
Yeah.
So it was
especially when we know that McLaren is very, very fast.
They are.
But yeah, so a good race by
George Russell.
George Russell.
Yeah,
to
he
keep on.
Finished P2 and Lando Norris P3. So it was really good for him.
So to go over the final results here real fast, we have again Piastri on first with Russell and Norris behind him. And then the two Ferraris.
So Leclerc fourth, Hamilton fifth. So Hamilton did come back to fifth, but it's ninth to fifth. Yeah. So
Verstappen in sixth, Gasly behind him in seventh.
Yeah.
Esteban Ocon eighth with Yuki Tsunoda scoring points.
So he did. So
good for him.
Points for Red
ninth
Bull.
place. Ollie Behrman made his way all the way up to 10th place to score points.
Very good. That's really good for him, especially starting at P20. So.
Yeah. Kimi Antonelli fell down a bit to 11th, so no points for him. Alex Albon in 12th place, Isaac Hadjar 13th, Jack Doohan 14th, Alonso 15th, Lawson 16th because he had a total of 15 seconds of time penalties, 5 seconds for causing a collision, then an additional 10 seconds for causing a collision. Also, Jack Doohan had a 5-second penalty for track limits, and Nico Hulkenberg got disqualified for plank wear. Yeah, so there's like literally a wooden plank, I think, underneath the car.
It was not thin enough to meet regulations.
It was too thin.
Yeah, it was not. It was not. Sorry, it was not thick enough to meet regulations.
So it was worn down too far. Basically, when the car was too low because it was scraping too much. So yeah. And Sainz, of course, again did not finish. And Bortoletto comes home last place.
And now we're moving on to the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
Yes, so in an effort to catch up, we're going to do a speed recap here of the Grand Prix.
Yes.
This was actually a very good race, and you should go watch it.
Yeah.
But to start out here with the starting grid, we have Verstappen on pole, so good start for him. Piastri right behind him in second, with Russell in third, Leclerc fourth, Kimi Antonelli fifth. We don't see Lando Norris until 10th place.
So bigger gap to fill since Bahrain, where he started in 6th, but now he's starting in 10th place, so let's see how that goes for him.
But Carlos Sainz in 6th place, so good start. Yuki Tsunoda making it into Q3 again in 8th place.
Nice.
Hamilton up to 7th this time, so slightly better. And Pierre Gasly again in Q3, 9th place for him. Alex Albon up in 11th, so a little bit better than he did in Bahrain.
We see Liam Lawson.
Yep.
Moved his way up now, back up to P12, so fight for the points.
Alonso 13th, Hadjar 14th, Ollie Behrman in 15th, so higher
than the P20.
Yes, definitely. Lance Stroll 16th, and Jack Doohan Nico Hülkenberg, Esteban Ocon, and Gabriel Bortoleto to round it off. So to start out here,
very interesting start to the race.
Yeah,
I would say. We see Max Verstappen keeping his lead until I think it was turn 1.
Yeah. It was a weird start because so Oscar Piastri got a very, very good start, and then Max Verstappen kind of just like came over at him, and Piastri was honestly ahead at that first corner, but then Verstappen just was like, you know what, I'll just hang it up on the outside.
He just went on the he
went off the track.
Went off the track to go in first. So he went on the runoff area. There's runoff area for situations just like this. So he went into first, but he didn't give so that's illegal. So he can't get he has to give the position back, but he didn't.
Yeah.
So he was given a 5-second penalty.
Yes. And then also in the same sequence of events, Yuki Tsunoda crashed into his good friend Pierre Gasly,
ending his race.
Both of their races.
Both the races ended.
So of course terrible for both of them as they both got into Q3 finally.
Yeah.
Of course they were both in Q3 in the last race, but still, very good qualifying for both of them, and then both out on the first lap.
Yeah.
It was a very chaotic start and first 3 corners.
Yeah, it was just a fight throughout. It was
very
entertaining first lap. So I think so.
But so then we got a safety car out. Now when you're this early in the race, most people aren't really going to be pitting like crazy because they really haven't done anything. But still, we do get a safety car there to bunch everybody back up. And we do basically at the end of that safety car, we do get a penalty for Max Verstappen.
5-second penalty.
Yes.
For not giving the position back.
Yep. And
which he did later serve in the pits.
Yep.
So.
But then as Verstappen kind of led them away, it was kind of a horrible restart for Oscar Piastri. Russell was right on his tail as they restarted, but also Max Verstappen got pretty far away from him pretty quickly, which is not ideal, especially when you're...
But I think what really decided the places too and the paces of the race were the tires. Basically, most of the grid started on the medium compound tires, and it was proven that the tires, they were not optimal. The tires were not great. They were degrading really fast. So I think a bunch of them switched to, all of them, almost every driver switched to the hard compounds, which really proved the race too. And they all like switched at almost the same time. So I think Piastri, Verstappen, they all stopped near each other, and Piastri did come out on top of that.
Well, and we saw Lando Norris on the hards early in the race, and he was making up a lot of positions. I mean, he kind of was in this fight with
Leclerc,
Lewis Hamilton, actually.
Hamilton
for a couple laps, but eventually he did get past him.
Yeah.
But Hamilton was running the mediums, and Norris was on the hards, and the hards just seemed to be better, as a lot of the people he was going past, like Hamilton, like Kimi Antonelli, eventually like Leclerc, were on those medium tires.
Yeah. I think that fight also helped prove which tire was also more optimal as well. I mean, you can generally see that the mediums were not well, but I feel like that fight also showcased it for everyone else to see that the hard compounds I think were the better tire at the time.
Yeah, definitely. And then I mean, for a little bit it was kind of a game of when will Verstappen pit?
Yeah.
He was kind of Piastri had pitted first, and then it was when are they going to bring in Verstappen? Eventually they did bring him in only a couple laps later.
I mean, his time penalty also had to do with it as well.
This is true.
So I mean, I think that played also a bigger factor too. Yeah. Eventually, I feel like he just should have just given the position back.
This is true. But he did serve his penalty then in his pit stop, and then. A little later in the race, we saw Alonso having a very, very close call with Gabriel Bortoleto. Bortoleto moved way over. I think it was in an effort to cover off the position after he got passed by, I believe that was Liam Lawson. But he almost ran Alonso into the wall. There was just barely enough space there, so very lucky for Alonso that he did not get hit. But so eventually Piastri retakes the lead after all the pit stops go through. And we also saw Russell kind of falling off as Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris were able to get past him up into third for Leclerc and fourth for Lando Norris. And then it was just the Piastri show, just kind of bringing the race home and winning it. And then we saw the rest of the grid kind of just fall in mostly as you'd expect.
Yeah.
Piastri winning it, Verstappen just behind him. with Leclerc in third, Lando
Norris.
Norris making his way up from 10th place up to 4th.
You see the two Mercedes, George Russell, Kimi Antonelli, 5th and 6th.
Yeah, and Hamilton in 7th place. Sainz basically staying where he started in 8th, but Albon making up some places to 9th to get some much-needed points for Williams. Hadjar scoring some points for VCarb. Alonso down in 11th, Lawson in 12th, Ollie Behrman in 13th, Ocon making up places to 14th, Nico Hulkenberg 15th, Stroll 16th, and then Doohan was 17th,
And then
Bortoletto was 18th.
And then we see obviously Yuki and Pierre they both crashed.
Yes,
So.
and also Lawson was put down to 12th after a penalty, a 10-second time penalty.
Always having penalties.
Yeah.
He had like 5 of them in Bahrain. So
Yeah.
it was like.
But this was actually a very entertaining race.
Yeah.
But we do have to catch up here. So so we're gonna keep doing our best here to catch up.
Yeah.
We've still got a couple to go. I believe the next race we got is Miami. So we will be back with that as soon as we can. Then we'll go over to Imola and then Monaco. So we can basically skip that one.
Yeah.
But we are doing our best here. We are getting closer and closer to catching up. So and we will see you guys
Yeah.
for the next one.
Goodbye.